Welcome to the IME Community Podcast, where self-love is your superpower to achieve your weight and life goals and make your mark in the world. Your host is Dr. Karla, ActivistMD. If you're a teen who's looking to revolutionize your health and can't wait to follow your dreams, welcome to the IME community.
Boundaries, we're gonna talk some boundaries. Let's talk boundaries. Let me hear your boundaries down. Okay, just cheesing around, but we're talking about boundaries today. This is the second episode in my series on teens and weight bullying. So helping you get some practical tools that are gonna help you stop being weight bullied. And today we're talking about setting boundaries, okay? All right, so powerful. I love it. Hope you listened to the last one. It's okay if you didn't. It's not like these come in any order. But I think the boundaries one is so important, and I want you to listen to the first one too. Share with everybody, and parents, if you're listening, make sure you share it with other people, and maybe you and your teen want to listen to it together. It's not just weight bullying, it's every kind of bullying. Bullies will weaponize weight, but we're talking about really any type of bullying can be stopped or helped to hopefully stop by setting boundaries, okay? It's not an exact science, but we're getting there, all right? And when you start to set boundaries for yourself, it's so powerful. You create self-trust that you're showing up for yourself, and then you can start reaching whatever goals and dreams that you want in life when you have your own back. It's part of self-love superpower, and it's so important. And with that in mind, my cool pen here, self-love superpower pen, make sure that you go to join IME community if you're teen 12 to 18 or parent of a teen. My member community is amazing, and you get my coaching, you get all these resources, and you can help co-create a body positive community in a body negative world. I can't think of anything more needed right now than IME community. And believe me, I've been doing this work for a long time, and I coach on stuff that I've gone through. So this bullying blog series, whatever you call it, has been really helpful for me as someone who's gone through a lot of bullying in my life, and all of us will experience at one time or another. If you are bullying, because sometimes the lines are kind of fine, if you find yourself being the bully, can you create a pause and stop? Can you create a pause and recognize it and stop? Please. You don't have to be stuck in it, okay? I'm going to ask you to stop. Okay? All right, so let's talk about what's first on our playlist. We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. By Twisted Sister, a real get you pumped up to set some powerful boundaries with bullies. 80s rock song. Video's hilarious too, in case you want to transport yourself back to the 80s, which is when I was a teen, which my kids think is such a cheesy time, and kind of true. Okay, so when it comes to setting boundaries, are you an avoidant or a compliant? It's kind of how I've been. Or are you an aggressive or manipulative controller? It's more like the bully. I doubt you're a controller if you're listening to this podcast or watching this video and reading the blog, and most likely you're an avoidant or compliant we don't want to deal with conflict, or we haven't been taught the skill of setting a boundary for ourselves. We think we might make it worse even sometimes. I get you. That's where I've been most of my life, especially when it comes to setting boundaries for myself. But it's been like a very powerful part of coaching for me is setting boundaries and following through on those. And it's such a relief, to be honest, to show up with boundaries for yourself. You are worthy. of setting boundaries for yourself. And this month I'm coaching you on March Self-Worth Madness. So those are the self-love superpower mantras, the positive affirming statements I'm doing on TikTok every day. And we're talking self-worth. It's really important. Sometimes teens maybe don't want to share if you're being bullied, let alone set a boundary and speak up, which I get. I think it's really gotten hard in this gotcha culture that we live in. But boundary setting is self-love superpower. It's setting boundaries and following through creates self-trust that you have your own back, like I said. So did you know that we are created to set boundaries? It's not mean. It's part of living a healthy life. And I'm not talking about food boundaries or being strict or rigid with your calories or being rigid with boundaries or harsh on yourself. No. I love the book Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. You might want to check that out, especially if you're a parent. It's super helpful. The teens I coach, we went through parts of that book and found it to be like super helpful. And we coached on the different ways that you can set boundaries, which is really cool. So how do you decide when and in what situations you're going to set a boundary? What are the different kinds of boundaries you can set? And I guarantee you probably are setting boundaries now, even when you don't think that you are. So that's good. That's good. So sitting in class, Jill couldn't help but feel someone staring at her. She turned her head and he was staring right at her. The kid with his hoodie on, sitting behind and diagonally to her, just watching her. This is a real situation, by the way, with one of my former patients. So creepy. Jill could literally almost feel his breathing down her neck. Her mom said, maybe he likes you. No, he's trying to make a statement about me being fat. How do you know that? I just know. Did you talk to the teacher about it? Yes, I tried anyway, but she said to ignore it and it will probably stop. But that hasn't worked. All I want to do is just sit in class in peace, and it's so hard to focus when someone keeps staring at me. Yeah. So Jill, obviously not her real name, was a patient of mine, and I was so sad that she was being bullied sitting in class. How creepy and distracting is that story? Ugh. You'll see, I'm going to share with you how I took it to IME community teen members, and they kind of suggested how Jill could set some boundaries with this bullying. So our society and our culture lack boundaries because of the entitled belief that it's okay to openly comment on another person's body. Ugh, yuck. The reality is humans can be harsh and boundaryless at times, and we all experience aggression toward us in our life as part of our common humanity. Ugh. I know if you're listening to this, you'll agree with me that it's not okay to bully anyone. Bullies are cowards. It's true. What's also true is you don't have to fix or solve the bully or change yourself in any way. I talked about that on the last podcast, episode 1. You don't cause or control all the things in life. If you did, they wouldn't be happening, right? I always think that. That helps me recognize I don't cause and control all the things because, yeah, this crap stuff that's happening wouldn't be happening. If you spend your time thinking that it shouldn't be happening and hope the bully will wake up and become a decent human being and stop bullying you, you may be wasting your time. They might do that. That does happen, but you can't count on it. Also, if you're spending time wishing it wasn't happening when it is, that won't help either. What you can control is how you show up to create self-trust that you will have your own back. Another truth is that you are not powerless and you can create boundaries to help stop the bullying for you, okay? And in the last podcast episode and YouTube video, I talked about the importance of working with a trusted adult and adults to really listen and work with. This isn't just like a one and done situation, you know, if the teen doesn't want you to talk to anyone at the school and they don't trust the school to really be helpful, then that's not then don't do it. I mean, just really work with the teen. Parents, you know your teens. I know what you are thinking because I was in your shoes as someone who was more passive and non-confrontational. I had never been taught to set boundaries for myself. In fact, it was kind of not what a nice girl would do. Set a boundary. You're being aggressive. I was called an aggressive lady in my last workplace. I thought I had to be nice all the time. And then I just hope it would go away. The bully would just go away. But now when I do look back on my life at the times, and there have been many that I set a boundary with a bully. There have been many. And and it's just absolutely glorious to look back on it. Okay? And I suggest that you find a way to get it off your mind quickly. So whether that means talking to your parent about it, finding a way to write down your feelings about it, talking to a trusted adult at school, coming up with, we're going to talk about these bully bans or these boundary setting statements that you can come up with. The quicker you do that, the less you'll be stuck in it, the more empowered you're going to feel, and you're going to feel free of it. Okay? Okay. So the level of self-trust and self-worth that I created, it just perpetuates itself, and it's given me so much self-confidence. Okay? It's not like one time you stick up for yourself and then you're like, oh, done, and I'm going to do this every time. It's okay. Like, there's different ways to stick up for yourself. You don't have to use words all the time. There are many different boundaries to set. So here's some more boundary setting false beliefs that you may have. Remember, a belief is a powerful thought that's on a loop in your brain. And so they have power if we stay attached to them and we don't challenge them. So you may be thinking, if you set a boundary, that it's mean to set a boundary. You may be thinking it will make things worse for me if I set a boundary and speak up for myself. You may think or believe, I can't set a boundary. And you may think or believe, I will feel guilty if I set a boundary. So remember, thoughts create feelings. So it's not going to be the bullying, it's going to be, or the boundary itself. It's going to be your thought about it that's going to create the feeling, and your feelings drive your actions. So if you don't have a motivated feeling and you feel like it will make things worse for me, you're going to feel helpless, right? That thought makes me feel helpless and powerless. So you're not going to have actions that are going to be able to help you create boundaries for yourself, okay? So do you know what an upstander is? Are you like me? You can stick up for someone else at the drop of a hat. Oh my gosh, totally. But when it comes to yourself, that's a different story. So sticking up for a friend or peer who's being bullied is called being an upstander. And I'll talk more about being an upstander in an upcoming blog. We have lots of topics on this that we could talk about. And send me more too if you have others you want to talk about. But did you know, and I'm going to encourage you to be your own upstander? Okay, so what did I do with Jill's situation? Remember, the kid was staring at her, sitting behind her and diagonally, and just creepily staring at her, and she thought it was because of her weight. I took it to the community and let the teen IME community members coach on it, and it was epic. We had been coaching on different kinds of boundary setting, and they were able to coach on setting a physical boundary, an emotional boundary, a verbal boundary, and then also how Jill could advocate for herself to create a plan so the bullying will stop. So here's an example, creating a physical boundary. Let's take a boundary setting approach to stop bullying for ourselves too. So remember, you can always walk away, and that is setting a physical boundary. It's not giving up. Walking away, bye Felicia, is not giving up. Walking away is a powerful boundary, and without words can send a powerful message. Leaving sends a powerful message, okay? They'll get the picture. I'm out of here. You can move, maybe Jill could move to a different seat. She could talk to the teacher about sitting somewhere else if there's assigned seating. It sounds like she did that, but that's an option in the class. Change classes if you need to. And I know, like the bully should be the one to change the classes. I get it, but sometimes that might be an option. Take a different route to class if possible. Change up the timing of your route to class. Okay, those are some physical boundaries if it's happening at school. Okay, word boundaries Jill might try. You're making me feel uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable with you staring at me. Stop staring at me. I'm uncomfortable. You could be sarcastic, like I am. Sometimes that revs them up, but who cares? You can be like, do you have a staring problem? Yeah, you know. Setting boundaries with words. So from a Psychology Today article, memorizing a simple statement is the #1 thing to do from 8 things kids could say and do to stop bullying. This is written by a licensed clinical social worker, and she calls them bully bands. And I have a link in the blog and in the YouTube video script and podcast script to this article, which is some helpful things you can do. So let's practice some boundary setting words, some bully bands, and be really precise and clear, have a clarity. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Stop saying that to me. I heard you the first time. Stop bullying me. You're crossing the line. Whatever. My ears work just fine. I heard you the first time you said it. Way to be original. Okay. Think of your own too, but use those. I mean, you have those, they might help you. And if you have them in your back pocket, serve them up. Bring them on out. Here you go. Okay? Practice them in front of the mirror. Do the Mel Robbins high five. I don't know if you've heard from her. High five habit. Boom. And then practice your bully bands. Okay? You're not powerless. They don't control the narrative. They are weak. They're cowards. It's okay. You're not helpless. Emotional boundaries are really powerful too. So bullies project their weaknesses and insecurities onto their victims, and bullies are not coming from a powerful place when they bully. They're coming from a weak place of insecurity. The bully's insecurities and weaknesses are not ours to fix or solve. Let's believe them when they say and show us who they are. Okay? And they can be wrong about us. They know nothing about you. The bully knows nothing about you. 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay? I've heard so many stories from teens about how they defended themselves, and then they may have ended up with like a detention or suspension, the same consequence as the bully. So setting a boundary isn't fighting back as much as it is diffusing the situation to stop the bullying for you, okay? So there's a difference. And I'm one of these like, oh yeah, I'm going to fight back, you know? I'm not violent at all, but you know, I'm sarcastic, so I can cut to the quick, man. But, you know, you want it to just be something that's just more neutral statement that's really clear and lets them know that you know that it's absolutely not okay, because that's what they want is control. And the worst thing is to feel powerless. So when they know that you don't feel powerless, you feel powerful, you're in control of your narrative, they're not going to bully you anymore, because that's the worst thing that can happen for a bully. In other words, don't get in the mix with the bully. So don't degrade yourself to the level of the bully. Okay? That doesn't mean you don't stand up for yourself and make powerful bully ban statements. So by all means, please do that. You can even do a mental rehearsal. Okay? It's like a play you're writing and you're the hero who saves the day for yourself. Awesome. So practice it. So write it out. I know I'm so big on Post-it notes, and my kids are like, why are you so obsessed with Post-it notes? I'm like, oh, they're so great for all the little like coaching mantras and stuff. Anyway, write a few of them out and then just practice them again, like in front of the mirror. That's called mental rehearsal, pre-visualization, like you see yourself. And then it makes it easier for it to come out, instead of like when somebody calls you a name or something walking by them in the hall, like their unoriginal bullying statement they do to you. Then you're, instead of being like, oh, and then being mad at yourself and kind of bullying yourself for not speaking up, and it's like, oh, you always do that. Then, you know, practice it. And if you don't have if it's not the right time, there's nothing going wrong. Like if it's, you know, if you don't feel it right then to say it and you'd been practicing it, it's all okay. There's nothing going wrong. The power is in you writing the statement that works for you, that resonates, and you having it on hand and you practicing it, okay? So recognize you don't cause or control what another human being says. Thank God. And what you do control is how you want to show up and where you want to put your attentional focus. So with the kind of the boundaries that you want to set, and that's super powerful. So again, remember, our thoughts create our feelings. This is coaching here. And our feelings drive our actions or our inactions. So if you're feeling stuck and powerless in a bullying situation, can you try to write down your thoughts and your beliefs about the situation? And they're there whether you want to write them down or not, okay? They're there. So you're either reacting, avoiding, or resisting them instead of responding to the feelings that are coming up about the situation, okay? So if you keep believing that thought, your thoughts, without challenging it or realizing your brain is attached to it because maybe a fear, which is a human response and makes sense, then you will stay stuck in that belief. You'll stay stuck in the fear. When you have fear, you have inaction, okay? So here's some of the reasons why you shouldn't ignore bullying, okay? The problem with letting bullying go is that the bullying has to go somewhere. And guess where it's going to go? To you. So if not challenged, you may start to internalize it. Like you may actually start believing, we talked about this in the last podcast, if you change something about yourself, like your body size, that your bully is going to stop. But that's not always true. If you believe you are the one that's broken and not the bully's the one that's broken, you may restrict your eating or binge eat to cope with stress to avoid the stress of bullying, okay? So, by the way, I want you to know that I know it's not always as easy as creating like a boundary statement or a bully ban or talking to a trusted adult to create a plan to stop bullying. And again, I encourage you to talk with your doctor because bullying is a preventative health issue. Always work with a therapist to heal from trauma. If it's been going on for a while or it's something that's caused a lot of harm, I want you to get the help you deserve, the help if that's possible for you, okay? Okay, and I'm going to be here for you too. So remember, you are unbroken. You are perfectly incredible magic being who is meant to live your fun life. I'm going to help you do it, okay? So remember, bullying comes from a place of complete weakness, powerlessness, and insecurity. And if you're doing that, if you're a bully, stop. Stop right now. Here are your action steps. To consider visiting Stopbullying.gov, which is a website with lots of information. I want you to write your bully bans down. I want you to write down some beliefs you have about setting boundaries. Okay, like we talked about. Maybe you think it's mean. Maybe you think it's going to make it worse. What are those beliefs that you have? Because those will get in your way. Okay, what would it feel like to have your own back and set a boundary for yourself? Can you write down the answer? It's amazing. Empowering, right? Massive self-trust, massive self-worth, empowering. What? You write it down for yourself. Then I want you to do that mental rehearsal. So visualize, like practice it, like a play practice. Visualize and practice it using your bully bans, like as your script. And role play and say your bully bans with a casual confidence. Okay? So how do you want to show up for yourself? One powerful decision creates powerful clarity for your next step. So the more that I started like speaking up and setting a boundaries, setting statement and creating bully bans, the more I was able to do it. And then it got easier. I mean, it gets easier to do that. And I was experiencing less of it. Okay. So make sure, again, you connect with a trusted adult to help create a plan so the bullying stops for you, okay? And you don't have to fix and solve bullying. We're not here to fix and solve all the problems of the world. We just want to work to stop it for you, okay? And I've got your back, and I only care about helping you. And when I coach you in IME community, we're going to stay in your lane, not in the business of the bully, and trying to convince them or thinking they shouldn't be bullying or waste our time figuring out why they're bullying. We believe them when they have shown us who they are, okay? Let them be who they are and let them be wrong about you. All right, that's a lot. I got your back. Make sure to check out IME Community. Make sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast on Apple and Spotify. Get ready for a lot of amazing stuff happening. I'm so excited. It's a great time to join the community. So if you're a parent of a teen, age 12 to 18, who's experiencing some of these issues, you'll get a lot more of my coaching. You need an individualized approach and support and help, and I'm here to help you do that. You can sign up as a parent, and then there's also amazing resources and coaching for the teens. If you're a teen who's interested in signing up, let your parent know, okay? Because they're usually the ones who pay for it, all right? It's a very reasonable value. It's incredible. I made it so accessible for everyone. And we're creating a body positive community. And we're just going to move forward and cancel diet culture and get away from all these bullies and live our magical, fun, and incredible lives. All right. Next time, I think it's going to be about cyberbullying, but let me know your topics by emailing Dr. Karla, ActivistMD at IME Community. Let me know your topics that you're interested in, okay? Or that you need some coaching on. All right. I got you guys. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the IME Community Podcast, where self-love is your superpower. The content of this podcast represents the opinions of Dr. Karla Lester and is not intended as, and shall not be understood as, a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The opinions shared reflect the host and guest and do not represent an organization or medical group. Always seek the advice of your physician or therapist if you have concerns about your health. And please, like and subscribe to the IME Community Podcast. Share IME with your friends and go to imecommunity.com to join the member community. Don't forget to follow IME on social.